Hi, we're Dave and Jude, and we sold up our home and left our jobs and our lives behind to live on board our sailboat, Anamkara. Since leaving Portsmouth on the south coast of the UK, we've had quite an adventure, visiting wild Atlantic islands, Irish pubs, spotting whales, and watching motorsports. We're embracing life and all that it has to offer. Come with us as we continue to sail north and explore the UK's magnificent coastline all the way up to the Scottish Islands and beyond. We'll be exploring the lochs of Scotland and the Hebridean Islands and discover the wildlife and communities on the way. We have new videos out every Saturday, so make sure you subscribe to avoid missing an episode.
Just thought I'd come on and point out that Dave, on my birthday, is making me clean his side of the cockpit where he sits and has his drinks. How fair do you think this is? Any comment, Dave?
I mean, your oilskins are very dry, aren't they? Compared to my sopping wet one.
Yeah, but I'm cleaning. It's worse.
Know your place.
We're just preparing to slip the lines at Peel. We've got to call up and get the permission to exit through the swing bridge because there is a flap gate or a sill that needs to lower, and there's a footbridge that swings out of the way so that yachts can get through. And today we are sailing towards Strangford Lough, which is pretty much directly west of here. But we've been in Peel for 2 weeks, enjoyed all of the racing, enjoyed the island, explored everything I think we could. We're pretty tired now, we need a holiday. But yeah, very calm outside. There's supposed to be enough wind that we hopefully can sail at least some of it. Good sea state, hopefully, but it's raining, so hence I'm in my oilskins. And yeah, over to Northern Ireland. This will be the first in Carlingford Lough. We were next to Northern Ireland, but this will be the first time we've actually been in Northern Ireland. So looking forward to that. Neither Jude or I have been to Northern Ireland in the past, so this will be a new experience for us. And hopefully the journey goes well. When we set off, we were making the decision of where to go, and we thought go up and see Scotland and Ireland and go to the TT on the Isle of Man while we're still in the area, because if we go off to the Mediterranean, that's going to be days or weeks to get back, or if we cross the Atlantic, it'll be months to get back. So we thought we would come and see the local stuff first, and here we are. There's not enough wind to sail. Even if there were, the wind is directly on the nose, and it's raining, and you cannot see behind me. That's the Isle of Man. We've only been going for about 20 minutes, so you should be seeing mountains and all sorts behind us. We should still be able to see the castle at Peel quite clearly, because we're probably only about a mile away. And I can see nothing apart from one sailboat over that way. You may not be able to see them, and we're just surrounded by rain. It's not even mist or fog, it's just really thick misty rain, which is reducing visibility probably to a mile. or so, so it's not dangerous. We've got AIS on as well, we've got our lights on. But yeah, we are wishing that we'd chosen the Mediterranean, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's a lovely day. It's Jude's birthday today, so we're celebrating with some cake later and some porridge now. Oatmeal, I think, is what the some of the rest of the world calls porridge. Just oats that have been cooked, because it's cold and wet, and that's what you eat when it's cold and wet. So when we get to warmer weather, maybe we'll have a salad for breakfast or a croissant or something. But right now we need sustenance and warming up. So yeah, lovely day on the water. Certainly glad we came up this way. Jude's down below staying warm and dry, more importantly. Mostly because if both of us are on deck, then 2 sets of oilskins get wet, which then means moisture in the boat, which then we've got to dry out, and it's easier just to keep the boat as dry as possible. So here we are. I keep smacking my lips, by the way, because water is running down my face into my mouth. The joys of sailing. You don't get this on many channels, so you guys should feel lucky. We certainly do. So I thought I'd record another bit, because there's a phrase, type 2 fun, that I'm not sure if you guys have heard of. So type 1 fun is your normal kind of fun where you do something enjoyable and you just know you're having fun. Type 2 fun is this kind of thing where you're not having fun, and you know, it may be hard or wet, and it's only later when you're reminiscing about it you realise it was a fun thing to do. So yesterday we were climbing up Snaefell in, I think it was gusting to 35 knots at the top, so pretty challenging. It was freezing. We were pretty sure the racing was going to be cancelled anyway, and we had missed breakfast because we had to get the bus because of the racing and road closures and stuff. And that's your classic type 2 kind of fun, where we were climbing up the mountain, our legs were hurting, I had a stone in my shoe, I was cold, I was getting blown off the mountain, but looking back on it, we really enjoyed that day out. It was quite a nice trip up the mountain. We got some good photos, which you'll have seen in the previous episode, hopefully, or videos. We should share some of those photos on Instagram as well, so you guys can see them. But yeah, a lot of sailing is type 2 fun. It's not your classic knowing you're enjoying yourself kind of a fun. It's more of a challenging sort of fun, but we enjoy it. Bit of an update. So behind me still looks about the same. So that should be the Isle of Man still. We're probably about 10 miles out now, but it's mountainous, so we should still be able to see it quite clearly, and we would if it was a clear day. Over behind me here, we can see the Mull of Galloway and the loch next to it. I've forgotten the name of the loch already. And over in front of us we can see there's a bit of blue sky now, and there is the mountains of Ireland over in the distance. So off to my left slightly is the Mourne Mountains, where we came from 2 weeks ago now, and straight ahead is the entrance to Strangford Lough, which is where we're headed today. We're still about 4 hours away, so 20 miles, but it's always nice to see a bit of land, just to get your bearings and to know that you're on the right track. Obviously with GPS that's not such an issue, but it's still nice just to be able to see these things. We just had some snacks, everything's dried off, still a little bit chilly, but I don't need my hat on anymore, and yeah, the day is improving and the blue sky is ahead of us, so with any luck we'll get some nice weather later. The forecast is for rain at some point this evening, but hopefully that won't be until we're down below and tucked up eating dinner, but we'll see. Don't get to choose the weather, but at least we've had a fairly calm exit from the Isle of Man. It can be quite rough in these waters, so we've picked our day. It's been very, very rough on the Isle of Man, wind wise, and there's been enough rain that almost every day that the TT race was on, they've cancelled practices and qualifying and some of the racing. So we thought while there was a good weather window, we should get out of there and move on with our journey. So we're off back to Ireland, this time Northern Ireland, so we'll be probably 20 miles north of the border with Ireland, and so staying in the UK.
I don't really have an update, I just thought I would share I was finally outside for the day. Dave has very kindly let me hide out from the rain while it's been bad, so that, well, actually, I say kind, he was just saving the boat from being damp. But it was nice to be downstairs in the warm and not outside in the rain, so that was all good either way. Well, I can see land and blue skies now I've come up. I don't know what he's been complaining about, to be fair. And there's some birds around, but just flying past. But yeah, we'll see what the rest of the passage brings. Hopefully we can get in safely and put the anchor down, hopefully, and then have some dinner and stuff. And have a chill out for the evening, I think, is in order. A little bit of a lazy time in the quiet. Quiet will be nice. We've got a bit of blue sky out, which is nice. Days changed slightly. There's still lots of grey in various places, and angry looking clouds, but hopefully we will get in and do what we need to do before they come and hit us. We just saw a porpoise, I think, that went along. Not sure if we managed to get that on the GoPro. It was quite far, so it will be very small if we did manage it. But it felt like a nice little birthday treat of seeing a porpoise after all my cleaning that I had to do. The cleaning is good, and now the boat's looking nicer. But yeah, so I'm just up keeping an eye. We can see where we're going, and there's a bit more land coming into view. It's a bit strange and doesn't really look like we're expecting it to, but hopefully it will all look better once we get a bit closer. About to get hit with some rain. Let's see what the future holds. But
I think we're going to get in behind the rain.
It's not looking promising, but there is this nice little gap and then some more. We'll see what happens. Dave thinks we won't get wet at all.
I didn't say we won't get wet at all. I said I think we will miss the worst of it. I think we're going to get... This will blow past, we'll go in, and then more rain will come.
Wish us luck. Dave is there somewhere, enjoying the little bit of rain.
The radar says we're just going to get clipped on the corner of the rain. We're just entering Strangford Lough now. I'm hand steering, so you'll see me looking away quite a lot. And we are here at the wrong time, so we kind of knew we would get here at the wrong time. Coast Guard seems to know when we're filming, and they only call during those times. Yeah, we left half an hour earlier than expected this morning. We've made better time than we thought, and it's neap tides with very little wind, so we figured it'd be fine, and it was fine. But we're here an hour early into the Strangford Lough entrance. You can see behind me probably, basically the tide streams out of here quite hard, and it hits the flow of tide in the main channel in the Irish Sea, and then they mix together and they kick up a bunch of overfalls. But it's not just your normal overfalls, they're sort of in different directions, so it's quite uncomfortable, jiggly seas. I don't know if there's a proper name for it. It's sort of crossed streams. But yeah, basically as soon as we turned in, we went from 4.6 knots to 2 knots, and we went down as low as 1.3 knots. So there's still quite a bit of tide coming out of here. It's dying off over the next hour, which is fine. We are making progress now of 2.3 knots, and the sea has calmed down quite considerably. We are going in a pretty consistent direction now. For a while it was swinging us wildly side to side, so it was quite hard to steer, hence I was hand steering, because we don't want to overwork the autopilot for just a very short period of uncomfortableness. But yeah, had it been springs, had it been windier, this would have been an incredibly uncomfortable, possibly borderline dangerous entry. So yeah, good planning is essential, and an understanding of when you can sort of bend the parameters of that planning. So as I said, today it's neaps and there's a force 1 probably. We couldn't sail at all day, even though we were going directly into the wind. So a lot of the wind we were experiencing was actually because we were motoring into it. And so yeah, it was pretty safe for us to be flexible with it today, but I wouldn't do that on a bad day, and we're gonna have to be careful when we leave. But yeah, I thought I'd update you about how our plan went right, how our plan went wrong, and the sea looks pretty cool here. There's just very flat, shiny seas here, going past the lighthouse and stuff, which I will get some B-roll of and overlay over what I just said.
So we've just filmed some of the sea state while we've been coming in. So as we were going past the lighthouse, as Dave said, we've sort of timed it slightly wrong, about an hour, so it's not too bad. But we were just going past and there were lots of eddies, so where all the water is swirling all together. I don't know the technical term, but for anyone also that doesn't really know how they work, all the water swirls around, but it was creating these little whirlpools of water that were probably about 5-10 centimeters wide, and like probably about at least 5 centimeters down of like water or air in the water. It was really cool. Anyway, you'll see that. So we hope from the footage, we passed a few and didn't quite manage to film them, and then we passed this big whirly section where I think we caught one on the camera. But yeah, so although we timed it very badly, it was actually quite cool to see and fun and exciting for a few minutes. And again, we were very safe, and Dave hand steered us, and we did nothing wrong there, but it was a nice little part to see. I think that although we're not enjoying weather in the north, it's definitely quite cool to see different phenomena like that and be surrounded by this stunning place that, like behind me, you can see some land. Hopefully there's a castle on a hill, and we'll hopefully wake up in the morning and everything will be bright and shiny and be nice. There's cows on the hill and everything. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. I've rambled all day. We've just dropped our anchor. We are just north of Strangford. So we've been going like in the mouth, I guess, of the loch river part for about an hour, and we've still not even got to the main loch section. It's just over there, around that corner. It opens out and is very, very wide. So there's 2 of us anchored, or maybe 3 anchored boats in this place, and then there's a load of mooring buoys behind us, so we've tucked up. It's quite deep, and so we're in about 12 meters. It'll be about 15 when it's high tide, but we've put out enough chain to be all right, and it should be quite a calm night anyway, with no wind really forecast until the morning or late afternoon tomorrow or something. Probably change, everything changes. So yeah, we're just gonna maybe enjoy this little bit of sun that's arrived before the next rain comes in, and have a drink on deck. Passage drink.
We're in Strangford Lough. We've dropped anchor just near the entrance, and we are Oldley Roads, Jude says. And we're going to go over to Portaferry and possibly Strangford to just explore the towns. They look very pretty. It's currently sunny. It's supposed to be raining later, so we'll see where we get to. We're not really sure where to tie the dinghy up in true British fashion. There's never a dinghy dock anywhere you go, so when you watch YouTube channels in the Caribbean and they just talk about, oh, go to the dinghy dock and go to shore, that's not our reality. Our reality is there's a rocky shore that we might be able to drag the dinghy up and probably burst it. There's a slipway, but that's for the car ferry, so we would get in trouble. There's a marina that would charge us quite a high fee, and there's muddy forefronts, but we'll find somewhere. We normally do. Gotta say, Strangford Lough is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the nicer places we've been to anchor since we left the Solent, or since we left Dartmouth. You guys know that we really love the Dartmouth anchorage, and here it's really peaceful. I think it would be good even in bad weather in terms of holding. So yeah, we'll see what happens today, and we'll keep you updated and show you anything we find interesting. We managed to find somewhere to tie up. There's quite a big quay wall here in Strangford we've come to first, because it was just around the corner from the anchorage. So we've tied the dinghy up, climbed up a ladder. We think it should be fine with the tides, and yeah, plenty of room. Didn't need to use the pontoon that was there, which there's a gate on and you have to go and find the code and everything, so we didn't bother with that. We've just tied up against the wall. It looks like a fairly small place, so we might end up going across to Portaferry a little bit later and see what's over there, but first we're going to explore Strangford, which is a very picturesque little town.
We just finished visiting Strangford Lough, so there were about 2 or 3 pubs, a couple of restaurants, some shops, ice cream parlour, cake place. Oh, it seemed very small, but very, very pretty and quaint, and there was a lot of people wandering around, which seemed quite weird for how small it was. But yeah, it seemed quite nice. Not really sure what else we would do there. Maybe if anyone's been, comment below and tell us what you liked about it. But yeah, we are sort of potentially heading over to Portaferry now. The tide's started streaming, so we just need to make sure we can get over there safely and get back. But yeah, we will show you what we see next.
So we're currently motoring back from Strangford. We were going to try to go across to Portaferry, but we were making absolutely no progress against the current. We're still making fairly little progress against the current, but we're going into an inlet, so it gets us out of the most of it. But yeah, I thought I'd record this just to say, don't mess about with the currents at Strangford Lough. It's incredibly strong. We've only got a 2.5 horsepower motor on the back here, but even with a decent engine, I think you would struggle. And it's neaps at the moment as well, so this is the least lively version of the Lough. But yeah, it's quite exciting to find these things where you're not quite as in charge as you normally are. You know, especially for land-based people that are used to just, I want to drive over there, you get in your car, you go. Sometimes the sea is against you and you have to bear that in mind. So yeah, quite interesting. But we're going back to the boat. We're not really struggling to get back to the boat. We should be there in a few minutes, but we are having to push the engine harder than we normally do, which just burns more fuel. And yeah, then lunch on the boat, and we may move up into the lock later, we're not sure yet. We're not going to go yet because we'd just be fighting the tide into the lock, so then we'd be burning more diesel than we need to. Yeah, shame we didn't see the other side. It looks slightly bigger than Strangford, but hard to tell from this far away, and we're not going to risk going over there. We'd get stuck. We're sailing up Strangford Lough now. We raised the anchor probably about half an hour ago. It's a very weird place to sail in Strangford Lough. The tides have enormous eddies everywhere. So we were sailing just back on the corner there, and the rudder was essentially useless. We were being pushed along by the tide, which never helps with steering anyway. But then you hit an eddy, and we didn't have enough speed because we were sailing and there's very light winds today. So the boat's just sort of turning side to side like this, and you're turning the wheel, and it wasn't really having much of an effect. But it was localized to that corner, so we motored, I don't know, 300 yards, and then the eddies stop. And now we're out in the main basin of the Strangford Lough, and the eddies seem to have gone. There are what's called pladdies under the water, which are apparently, I'm sure I'll do a voiceover or something to explain what a drumlin is, but it's essentially a sort of egg or teardrop shaped rock or formation that was formed by glaciers. As they went past, they went in that direction, and we can see these hills over here are all in line with one another. Those are drumlins. And they were formed by a glacier passing over, and then under the water there's what's called drowned drumlins, which are exactly the same thing but under the water, because the water level rose and then the drumlins were underwater. So and then we've got the pladdies are rocks, I believe, huge boulder type rocks that were left by the glacier that are now on the bottom. So it's kind of weird for anchoring here as well, because you sometimes get a rock bottom, sometimes mud, sometimes sand. It's well documented, the charts show all of this, but it's unusual to have so much different bottom types in such a small area. And because of the tide, I guess there's no mud on top of the rocks even, so if you drop your anchor on it, it's just a flat topped rock. It will not hold at all. Nice enough day. We've got a bunch of rain forecast that's coming in. We're sailing towards rain right now. We're sailing up to a sailing club of someone on the Sun Odyssey 36.2 forum, who is a member of this club. His boat, I believe, is down in the Med, but he said come up and say hello, and it's always nice to meet an owner of the same boat that you've got. That forum on Facebook, so whatever boat you've got, go on Facebook and search for the boat type, and you might find that there's a bunch of people with the same boat who you can ask questions for maintenance and things on, which is incredibly useful. We're currently sailing at, how fast? 2.7 knots, which is fast enough. It's still only at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're not in a hurry to get there. We just sort of want to beat the tide, get tide on and stuff. So yeah, nice gentle easy day today, probably followed by a nice gentle easy day tomorrow, but we'll see. We don't actually have any future plans anymore really, other than getting to Scotland to go and see a friend. So yeah, we're not herring about the place anymore. We're doing a bit more sailing, even though we're not making much progress, but this is the sort of lifestyle we were intending, just to drift along and relax, now that we're past the TT, which was our main kind of goal initially. So yeah, we'll update you later, and hopefully we'll have made some progress.
The Down Cruising Club was established in 1968 and is a family-oriented sailing club based in Strangford Lough, Northern Ireland. Based in the unique Ballydorn lightship named the Petrel. A 1915 vessel purchased and converted by the club after it was decommissioned in 1968. This historic lightship served as a clubhouse and is the only remaining floating lightship in Ireland. On board the lightship are toilets and a shower, as well as a well-stocked and very friendly bar. This was one of the friendliest clubs we visited, and members were very keen to make sure we had everything we needed. The pontoon and moorings are extremely well protected, making it a perfect stop during bad weather.
We've just left the dock at Down Cruising Club. We've had a really nice couple of days. Everyone was really friendly and helpful. Had a couple of beers on the lightship, which is their clubhouse. We're now aiming for Portaferry, so we were initially hoping we could do a few more nights on anchor here, but there is quite a lot of wind and rain coming in on Thursday, which is 2 days from now. So we've decided tomorrow, just in case the wind comes in, we're probably going to head up to Bangor, and then be able to make a way to cross up to Scotland, hopefully with some good weather. We were also running quite low on gas, and we'll only have enough provisions really for probably 5 or so more days, so we don't really want to get stuck here, because although there probably are some supermarkets and stuff around, they won't be very big. Although we could probably ask someone and they would probably just go and take us to a shop, because that's what is the case here. It's very friendly and everyone's really helpful. But yeah, it's starting to rain, as you can probably see on my glasses and face and all of that. But it should be quite a quick and easy track. We've left at high water slack, and then we'll get pulled out, I think, or is it? Yeah, we're going to get pulled down the lock with the tide, which so it would probably make it quite a quick journey, maybe hour, 2 hours sort of thing. But yeah, it's quite cloudy and overcast, but we'll show you some of that now.
We've made it to Portaferry. Turn around this way, hopefully there's less wind noise. We've made it to Portaferry, about 2 hours down the lock from Down Cruising Club, and there's a lot of tide here. We said it on the way in, but we were doing 9 knots, and it's still technically slack water, but we were doing 9 knots coming along here in the Narrows as we were turning into the marina, and to get into the marina I was pointed well up behind the marina, and we were still drifting, just coming across the channel there, which isn't too much of a worry. You know, as long as you know that you're heading towards it using transits, so you line up 2 objects, and as long as they stay aligned, you're not dropping back or forth. So pretty easy to come in there, and then because it's set back slightly from the Narrows, you know that once you're in the marina, that tide is going to drop. So we had probably 2,000 RPM on out there in the current, and then you have to gently pull back the throttle as you come in, otherwise you just shoot off into the pontoon as soon as you get in. But Pod, the guy that runs the marina, was here to meet us and made it really obvious which berth we were coming into, so we phoned up earlier. He was expecting us. He followed us on AIS all the way from Down Cruising Club, so he knew where we were and when we were arriving. He was stood on the pontoon, took our lines, and we just gently came into the pontoon. Actually, for one of the, I think I might have done it the first time today, left the boat in tick over astern while we were tying on, just so that we could control the boat and the tide wasn't pulling it around too much. But really easy entrance here, really friendly welcome, as it always is in Ireland. We are now opposite to Strangford. This is Portaferry, where we said we were going the other day, and the tide is just ripping through out there, and we should be leaving 7 o'clock in the morning, probably leave the berth at 6:30 to get the last of the tide out. That will be low water, so we'll come out of here, out of the lock. Hopefully there won't be too big overfalls or anything. We've been told it should be fine tomorrow, and then we're turning north again to Bangor in Belfast Lock, and tying up in a boatfolk marina
another sprawling enormous marina, just like we're used to on the south coast. So hopefully big facilities and everything that come along with that, but we should then be able to order some things online and get them delivered. So we'll be there a few days. I think Jude said earlier there's some weather coming in on Thursday, which is something like 25 gusting to 30 or 40 knots. So we'll be snugly tied up for that weather that comes in. We'll check the weather again in the morning before we leave, but we have decided to leave Strangford Lough earlier than intended, just to get away from that weather, and hopefully have a nicer time of it as that blows through. We were going to head north anyway later in the week, but we wanted to have a couple more nights here just bimbling around and anchoring. So we've changed that plan. We will be coming back in here on the way back through, because it's such a beautiful place to sail. Lovely flat water in there, bit gusty, and it's been a bit breezy, but on a nice day this would be the best sailing ground we've probably seen. So we definitely will be coming back. Yeah, we're nicely tied on now. Not really. So when we first tied on, we were squeaking against the pontoon and squeezing the fenders. We've put a line on this side on the bow to pull us off of the pontoon, and then the stern spring, or it's technically the bow spring, that goes from the stern end at the pontoon to the midships on the boat. We make that one tight and the bow line tight, and that pulls the boat out away from the pontoon, so the tide won't be pushing us on and making it squeak all night. It should be a fairly comfortable night. Yeah, I think that's the only update now. We've been told there's a little pub in there with a capacity of 5 or 6. We're going to see if we can find that and see if we can squeeze in, and we're going to go and find a cafe for some lunch because we didn't prepare anything. But yeah, I had a bit of a wet and breezy passage, so we can't really be bothered to do lunch, so we're just going to cheat this time. Yeah.